Looks like Chad Harney was on the play. Island to go for both players. Just another island for both of them on turn 2. Red mana online, turn 3 for Harney. Augur Bolas finds a Tormenting Voice. Gaieski just a third island. No red mana just yet.
Yeah, it's possible Gaieski took a mulligan or two. He looks light on resources, and without access to red mana, he's not really doing a whole lot. Chad Harney actually put an Augur Bolas to good use. The attacking aspect of it allowing Chart Course to just be a 2-mana divination.
Yeah, then Tormenting Voice discarding Island. Chips in again with the Augur. Gaieski at 18.
A Spell Pierce on an opt. Chad Harney also misses a land drop here, so Gaieski could be back in it. His life total's under a lot of duress, and Harney doesn't really have much pressure. Still only has that 1 red mana. Can't deploy something like Crackling Drake.
Yeah, so both players tied at 1 red mana, though Gaieski's Electromancer ate a shock from Harney. Second Electromancer, we go back Harney's way. Fistful of spells.
Just to point out just how good Goblin Electromancer is in the matchup, Harney chose to shock a Goblin Electromancer last turn instead of playing a God Eternal Kefnet.
Yeah, I mean, just the mana production is so important.
Right.
Attack with Electromancer. It was blocked by the Augur. Shock will finish that off. Gaieski will pass. Some opt action for Harney. Now he'll deploy the Kefnet.
Yeah, and here it's got a stout body. Doesn't die to Lava Coil. It's going to need double up on burn spells from Gaieski in order to take it down. Or potentially something like Beacon Bolt if he can play a few more instant sorceries.
Gaieski looking for a big turn to catch up against that Kefnet. Started with an opt. Beacon Bolt, target your Kefnet. 4, or is it 3 other instant sorceries?
It's only 3, and he's going to attack in with Electromancer, offering that trade. But a Kefnet reveal of a shock here, pretty huge deal for Harney. And a Chart Course, he is flush with resources. Gaieski is on his last legs already.
And that Kefnet was saved from that follow-up shock by a Spell Pierce. Harney looking to be very much in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, absolutely brutal.
Arclight Phoenix go for Gaieski, and not a sign of strength.
No. No hit from the Kefnet, but with a handful of cards. Looks like he has a Lava Coil to exile the Phoenix, and this is elementary at this point.
Crackling Drake joins the party as well, and Gaieski just picks him up.
Yeah, that was just a story of Harney coming out of the gates, able to sculpt his hand early. Gaieski just going island, island, island without really putting up much of a fight in the first few turns. Chad Harney got to resolve multiple copies of Chart Course to draw 2 flat out. And that was what really sealed the deal. Gaieski just really light on resources on turn 5 or 6.
So they're going to grab their sideboards. You can check those out using the Cardboard Live extension. They're fairly similar. There was some differences. Gaieski has 3 Augur of Bolas, 2 Shiv on Fire, 3 Legion Warboss, a Beacon Bolt, a Narset, 2 Negates, a Spell Pierce, 2 Lava Coil. Looks like a lot of the spells are very similar for Harney, though he does have a Saheeli. In this matchup in the mirror, what role are you trying to play? You're trying to be more controlling, go long into the game, or you're just trying to pedal to the floor Arclight Phoenix? How do you approach it?
Honestly, it's really tough because no matter which angle you go for, your opponent can just go the opposite way and beat you. I would personally go for the control role. Both players have access to a ton of removal after sideboard, so it's going to be really hard to be the beatdown. But I've seen people have success boarding in Legion Warboss in these mirrors because sometimes you catch your opponent tapped out, you generate that 1 token, and that 1 token ends up being an extra card off of Chart Course, an extra couple points of damage as the game progresses, and ultimately leading to some really awkward moments with things like Narset Part of Veils being at 1 loyalty, for example. So
sure.
The Legion Warboss is not great because the card Shock is just almost certainly going to stay in the deck, but to deal with Goblin Electromancer. But at the same time, if left unchecked, it's going to be dope, just like Goblin Electromancer.
Looks like Gaieski going to be taking a mulligan here on the play. Harney good on 7. It is really interesting. You know, Electromancer is your most exposed card to shock, and then Warboss also very exposed to shock. But when you have a higher threshold of just those great cards, eventually one of them should stick.
Right, and it's just all about overloading your opponent's resources at that point. You know, if you're all threats and low removal, your opponent just might run out of burn spells at some point.
Well, here's a Warboss for Gaieski on turn 3. Is there a shock? There's an opt. It doesn't feel like a shock. Gaieski reaching for the token. There it is.
There it is.
Goblin connects.
And that's it. I mean, and even if Chad Harney untaps and Lava Coils this, That's not that good.
He's just opting again. Now he has the shock.
Great. Perfect. Right on time. This Ben Freeman Goblin token might turn on Chart a Course. It's definitely going to do a couple points of damage. And Chad Harney is going to be having to basically play catch-up from here on out.
Crackling Drake is follow-up for Gaieski, though now Harney has Guard Eternal Kefnet. Interesting game again.
Yeah, and that's a big one. Guard Eternal Kefnet is huge in these mirror matches. It's very good against decks that play red because usually the biggest burn spell they play is Lava Coil, and that only does 4 points.
Another War Boss for Gaieski, 2 tokens and the Drake rumbled across. Harney's at 15. Finds Lava Coil with Kefnet, so he gets to use that on the War Boss, and it goes to his hand. Cast Arclight Phoenix and attacks for 7. Gaieski to 11. That Crackling Drake's quite small. I think just opt in the graveyard.
Yeah, it's not really that threatening, which is why Harney actually chose to knock off the War Boss with that Lava Coil copy instead of the Crackling Drake, which is regularly gigantic. So.
Yeah, maybe sussed out Gaieski a little fluttered on just creatures, stuff like Arclight Phoenix in the hand.
Yeah, flooded on creatures, but also just didn't have a removal spell for the God Eternal Kefnet straight up. So Harney going to try to turn the corner here and play a lot more aggressive. Could have gone for Lava Coil on the Crackling Drake on the previous turn, but noted that it's not that big.
Really aggressive line for Gaieski. Cast Arclight Phoenix, Lightning Strike upstairs, attacks with the team. Harney's at 5.
This is a pretty good turn for Harney, though. He gets to play Saheeli Sublime Artificer and a Lava Coil on one of these opposing creatures. Now, which creature he wants to hit, it's a completely different story. And the 1/1, though, does generate a blocker for those Goblin tokens.
Yeah, pretty good swing. So Coil takes care of the Crackling Drake, makes that servo. Thinking about if he wants to make any attacks. Chooses not to. Go back to Gaieski.
Yeah, at 5 life, I'm fine just not attacking. It's really dangerous to do so.
Gaieski will use Tormenting Voice to discard the last card in his hand. It was an island.
Looks like he drew Beacon Bolt, but I believe there's only 3 instant sorceries in there for him.
So he'll attack with everything, and looks like Harney's lining up blocks and everything. Now Lava Coil takes care of the Kefnet. That'll go 3rd for the top for Harney. Remember, even if you exile it, it does go into the deck. Harney will replace that with a Crackling Drake. Now he'll attack with his Phoenix. Gaieski to 8 with just a Goblin Electromancer. Opt gets negated. Chan Hardy 2-0 in the Is It Phoenix mirror.